go for a nice brief walk in Green Acres in San Fernando with my campaign management team.
Okay, so what's the first thing you do on mornings?
First thing I do, get up, say my prayers, kneel down and say my prayers, very important, and then make breakfast for my wife and daughter, and head out and take a proper sweat in the gym.
So tell me, why should I come out and vote in this election?
This election is the mother of all elections, and we in the UNC intend to create 50,000 jobs for the people of Trinidad and Tobago in an effort to get Trinidad and Tobago properly working again. We intend to put money back into the pockets of the people of this country by lowering income taxes so they have more spending power when they go out there onto the streets of Trinidad.
But let's talk about food. Curry or pilau?
Curry lau. Yes, I know it might sound very unique and weird, but it is the most amazing thing you'll eat. I have a partner out there in St. Joseph who does the best curry lau. It's a combination of pilau and curry sauce. Amazing to die for. Nico, you know what I'm talking about.
So tell me, what are you looking forward to post-COVID?
Gatherings with family members and friends. I miss those gatherings, and I would love to have those gatherings again with no restrictions of 5 or 10 persons.
What are your plans for here in San Fernando?
Well, as I mentioned, we have a plan for the country to create 50,000 jobs. 5 to 7,000 of those jobs will be right here in San Fernando. And it's our way of trying to get the people of San Fernando working again.
So we established that you like to go to the gym, but how much can you really bench press?
Well, the most I've ever done was about 505 pounds. But on any given day, I could crank out about 10 reps with 375 pounds.
So when you're out campaigning, what are people telling you?
People want change and they want more access. More access to their representatives, more access to their members of parliament. And I have started by doing that by giving out my personal cell phone number to all persons whilst I'm on my walkabouts. And if you don't have it, here it is, 767-8600. Call or WhatsApp at any point in time.
So I heard you can cook. When was the last time you cooked dinner for your wife?
Last week, Saturday, barbecue under the stars. A perfect end to a Saturday evening.
What's the first thing you're going to do when you win San Fernando West?
The very first thing will be to tell people thank you. And then right after that, get onto the ground and start working. In the theme of Martin Luther King, the urgency of now. Now is the time to get active. Now is the time to get working again. Now is the time that we're going to generate so much energy to get San Fernando West and the rest of this country on a proper path to productivity and working again.
Thank you, Senator Sobers.
Of course, no problem. Bye.
Live from the United National Congress social space, this is the virtual campaign on the ballot. Tonight, social justice is on the ballot, sustainable jobs is on the ballot, integrity is on the ballot, truth is on the ballot. On the ballot, the time is now. We now have the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago, followed by a prayer with Senator Anita Haynes.
Almighty God, we offer our prayers to you and seek your protection for everyone in our blessed country. We pray, O God, for you to protect us from harm and sickness, so that we may have the strength to look after one another. O merciful Lord, we pray that you will continue to bless our land and those who cultivate our crops, so that there may always be food. We pray that no one will ever go hungry. Grant us understanding, equal vision, and balanced minds. Guide us along a path of faith, devotion, and wisdom. Help us to recognize that each of us is equal, that we are all equal in humanity. Give us your protection so that we may live in safety together and grow strong and free together. We pray that everyone will find love and peace in their daily lives. Dear God, we pray for our political leader. We pray for members of this team. Protect them, God, and give them the strength and courage to continue their service to our nation without fear or favor. Thank you, God, for keeping your children free in our democratic state, where every creed and race finds an equal place. Dear God, we beseech you to bless our leaders, bless our people, and bless our country.
No, 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 the time is no, 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 the time is no, 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 the time is no, 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 no.
This is the virtual campaign. On the ballot. Why wait? The time is now.
What time it is? Now is the time for action.
Live from the United National Congress virtual platform. On the ballot now. The candidate for TOCO SANGRE GRANDE, NABILA GREENE.
Good evening to my political leader, Mrs. KAMLA PERSAD-BISSESSAR, Deputy Political Leader Jolene John, Deputy Political Leader Khadija Amin, and all the other candidates for the United National Congress, online viewers, and all those who are present. A special good afternoon to you. Citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, I am NABILA GREENE. I consider myself strong, resilient, determined, and committed to serving the constituents of TOCO SANGRE GRANDE and by extension, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I want to be a voice for women, women of all different and difficult backgrounds. I want to be a voice for the disenfranchised and abused in society, and a voice for those who dream. I want to be a voice for women who are victims but treated as villains. I want to be that voice. I want to welcome you into the SAFE Act, the Noah's Act, the United National Congress, a SAFE Act for women who do not have a voice. For one day, soon, the sun will rise and the darkness of crime, corruption, abuse, and neglect will be dispersed. It will be so satisfying, so gratifying to see TOCO SANGRE GRANDE finally liberated from the chains of neglect, disregard, and mamagai, to be rescued from this cult and to embrace a new culture. I invite you to rise with us, and this dream will be realized on August 10th. We are confident that the United National Congress will form the new government. TOCO SANGRE GRANDE, I appeal to your better judgment. Ignore the quick fix approaches intended to soothe for a month or two, but usually leave you on a high and a dry for a long time. Let's band together, and on August 10th, vote for a better quality of life, for production of better citizens, protection of life and property, and promotion for our nation to develop, to be a developed country in this status. As you can appreciate, we belong to one of the largest constituencies in the term of geographical layouts, and it will be more reasonable to address my developmental plans for us in 4 sections we have identified for this purpose. Firstly, for the homies from Matura to Matlot, the neglect we feel is so real that some may feel hopeless, but do not worry. You won't be sorry that you give yourself this chance. Ecotourism is a big deal for us because of the natural beauty and the natural resources which abound, from the presence of the leatherback to the picturesque beaches, to the abundance of flora and fauna. We have the potential to earn lots of foreign exchange to the hospitality industry and a host of other related opportunities. However, the entire road is an insult to our visitors and us. I will ensure that we have first-class roads that we can be proud of, we can all be proud of. Every fishing depot and facility in every village is in a state of disregard and disrepair, which cause hardship and problems for our hard-working fishermen. I am determined to give our fishermen and women the dignity they deserve and upgraded facilities. In addition, our young athletes have nowhere to train. School children face the hardship of traveling to as far as Malabar to train for 2 hours, spending over 5 hours on the road. This is unacceptable. And our aim is to have our sporting and training facility to give our youth a fair chance to compete. Our farmers will be given incentives to once again feel motivated and confident to plant their own crops, knowing that agriculture will be the front burner of our new government's agenda. And don't forget, the plague of regular power outages will be history. Now is the time. Vega the Oropuch, I have heard your cries for better infrastructure throughout the entire community. Your cries have been falling on deaf ears for a very long time. Your problems will be solved. There are many hard-working farmers who want to do more, but this is your chance. Vote for your candidate, NABILA Greene, and Vega will never be the same. Vega is only a few kilometers from Sangre Grande, but treated as if they're in the middle of nowhere. I can assure you that the new Vega markets will attract customers from all over this country and will give farmers more reason to continue to provide food to this country. The flooding problem, which many think cannot be resolved, can be fixed by competent engineering procedures, the finance, and the will to get it done. I can assure you it can be done and it will be done. This will give our residents more hope and scope for affordable, secure housing development in this area. In the town of TOCO, Sangre Grande, for too long we have been treated like an abused, neglected child. Sangre Grande must rise. Under the rising sun, the light of industrial development will shine on us. An industrial estate will be established to play a vital role in the region, and the country's economy, creating jobs and products, will be boosted, and our importance and our quality of life also will be boosted. The ripple effects will be great for business and heavy investments for the region. These developments will attract developers and investors to the region. We will aim to provide housing developments in the town of Sangre Grande, which will give every qualified resident a chance to own their own home, right here in their beloved hometown, in Valencia, a town with the potential to become so prominent and so ripe for development, but overlooked by previous local and central administrations. Now is the time. Now is the time to establish a life skills center where our people can be empowered to become independent, useful, contributing citizens of our beloved country. Farmers will be equipped with incentives to produce food and livestock on a scale that we have never seen before. This is crucial because we aim to reduce our country's food import bill. Now is the time to get our country working again, and Valencia, you can make that difference by contributing in this regard. Everywhere I've walked in Valencia, I've seen the poor condition of the roads, the drains, the poverty, the lack of opportunity. The squatting issues will be even settled. Even though we don't subscribe to the philosophy of our folks living on handouts, social programs will be intensified to reach the needs of the less fortunate. An infrastructure and development overhaul is coming to Valencia. A social and economic refreshing is in the pipeline for Valencia. Education, training, and opportunities for personal and collective growth is around the corner. CPEP, URP, and forestry cannot continue to be our biggest employers. They play a role, but we must never limit ourselves to those roles. We stand on the threshold of a new era. Let's get on board, Valencia. TOCO Sangre Grande has gone green. Together we can use this wisely, and I'm telling you, now is the time. I, NABILA Greene, have a personal commitment to rewrite the history of misrepresentation in this resourceful constituency and ensuring the best ever era of social and economical upliftment through these following plans: the harnessing and processing of natural resources for social and economic development, Secondly, the education and engagement of the human resources for a better quality of life. Thirdly, the refurbishment and construction of critical infrastructure, the establishment of an industrial estate, the development of agricultural lands and industry for food production, incentivization of the business fraternity for more scope and security, upgrade of fishing facilities at the TOCO method, and so much more. Trinidad and Tobago, let's get ready to grow. Let's get ready to glow. Let's get ready to go. I counsel you on the 10th of August. Put your X by the rising sun. Vote for NABILA GREENE. Vote for United National Congress. I thank you.
No, no, the time is no, 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 the time is no, 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 the time is no, no, no.
Live from the United National Congress virtual campaign, on the ballot now, the candidate for ARIMA, FLORA SINGH.
Now is the time to vote them out. 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 Now is the time.
My political leader, the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, KAMLA PERSAD-BISSESSAR, Deputy Political Leader, Jearlean John, Deputy Political Leader, I.A.N, my fellow candidates, viewing and listening audience, and especially my constituents of ARIMA constituency, greetings. I stand before you today saddened on one hand and excited on the other. As I travel throughout the length and breadth of the constituency of ARIMA, I am saddened by some of the things I have seen. What I have seen is neglect, frustration, dissatisfaction, much pain, and no representation for the last 5 years. For a constituency that had so much done between 2010 and 2015, for example, we built the Mount Pleasant Bridge where they said that could not have been built. We built a new police station in ARIMA. We built the Marion Bridge. We replaced the Marion Bridge in Blanchisseuse, and the long-awaited new ARIMA Hospital was started under the KAMLA BISSESSAR administration, and much more. As I traversed throughout the constituency, I met young men, young women, single mothers, families that are struggling and seem to have no one or no other to turn to. Many of these young men and women who society sometimes stigmatizes are educated, talented, and skilled in various ways. But opportunities are not provided for them to better their lives. I say to you, young people of ARIMA, I, FLORA SINGH, will champion your cause. Madam Political Leader, while walking one evening, I went to a family. In this home, but along the way, I met many persons and families that are struggling. But this particular family brought tears to my eye when she said to me, "Come, I want to show you something." I was invited to this house by this mother who had lost her job, had no means to sustain her household, even though she had applied for grants and had not received it even to this date. She opened her cupboard doors, and there was nothing inside of it. Tears rolled down my eyes as I watched her in disappointment and saddened by the state of her condition for her family. I remember how much you, political leader, you did for single mothers and families who were in need. I say to the people in situation like this, I, Flora Singh, will champion your cause. I am saddened that the Lafayette Primary School was not built, though the sod was turned under the KAMLA PERSAD-BISSESSAR watch. I am saddened that the ARIMA Central School project that had been started under the KAMLA PERSAD-BISSESSAR watch was abandoned. I am saddened that the ARIMA Hindu School was not completed, though the school was started under the KAMLA PERSAD-BISSESSAR government. And guess who is the Minister of Education? The Member of Parliament for ARIMA. How sad. And they look at us and say they are the right choice. Really? But I want to say to you, the UNC is the choice in this election coming. I want to say to you, the people of ARIMA, make the right choice. And the right choice is the wise choice to choose to vote under the umbrella of the UNC government. To all these neglected schools in ARIMA, I want to say to you, I, Flora Singh, will champion your cause. To the young people of Jonestown, Calvary, Pinto, Trainline, Matarita, Lafayette, Monlacqua, Paria, and to the many others I have met along the way, I want to say to you tonight, as your MP, I will champion your cause. To all this, there will be nothing if we don't bring communities together, because there's a saying, it takes a village to raise a child. My aim is to strengthen culture and sport in every community. And as we do so together, with all the national plans that a UNC government will put in place, I can assure you, under my watch, ARIMA will be a better place. I, Flora Singh, will be a representative for all the people of ARIMA. My endeavor is to empower all constituents through policies and mechanisms based on consultation to make ARIMA an economic hub of the East-West corridor. Remember, the wise choice on August 10th is to vote for Flora. Now is the time. And now you want to know why I'm excited? I am excited because under the KAMLA PERSAD government, development will happen again in ARIMA. I want to say to you, we put people first, and now is the time. May God bless you. May God bless our nation. Thank you.
No, the time is no, the time is no, the time is no.
Live from the United National Congress virtual platform, on the ballot now, the candidate for MORUGA-MICHELLE, Michelle Benjamin.
Good night to the honorable political leader of the United National Congress and the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, my fellow candidates. Good night, my UNC family and friends, and a special good night to my constituency, MORUGA-MICHELLE. Before I start on my contribution, let me say this. I do not have the luxury of a full-page ad in the papers. I do not have money to buy the airtime on radio and all the TV spots. But let me use this forum to send a loud and clear message to Keith Rowley and the PNM on behalf of the people of MORUGA-MICHELLE. And that message is, we the people of MORUGA-MICHELLE will no longer be insulted anymore by the PNM and the Rowley government. Let me explain why I say this. A few weeks ago, Rowley and his psychic, Gypsy, rushed down to Sobrati Trace Mosque in Kunjal and demanded a meeting with my Muslim brothers. After that meeting with the Muslim brothers, he said he committed a cemetery. They brought a document which they said was an MOU to give the lands to the Muslim brothers. Do you know that they left behind nothing? It was all a show. Come on, we will no longer be insulted. The corporate secretary of the PTRC took back the signed document. Such is the desperation of the Keith Rowley and his desperate psychic, Gypsy. They will do anything to fool the people of Moruga-Tableland. But tonight I tell you, no more. Tonight I tell you, enough is enough. We will not be fooled. The man who cannot be found for questioning wants to talk, Mr. Gypsy. He needs to be found for questioning. He refuses to answer the media. So I advise the media, ask his leader, ask them the questions. Let him come clean. Let him come clear. Let him clear his name. Please give that man an opportunity to tell the people of Moruga where the mattress gone. Let him answer questions as to what happened in the magistrate court. All these TV ads he's paying for, I think he could answer some questions. Those seeking public office would well know that you must subject yourself to public scrutiny. Am I right, my fellow candidates? Now again, a few days ago, I have a lot of story to tell because they're trying their best to fool Moruga-Tableland. The men with no answers and no plan took an excursion to Moruga. And believe it or not, they went to turn the sod. How much time they will turn the sod for this fishing port? Mr. Bellman, I see you in the crowd. How much time will they turn the sod for this fishing port? It's unbelievable. Mr. Rowley, sir, you failed to deliver to Moruga a fishing port. For so many years, causing so much hardship and suffering for the poor fishermen. And you come now 14 days before a general election to mamagai the people again? I said, not this time. How dare you, Mr. Rowley? You have insulted every single constituent of Moruga-Tableland. You shut down the refinery, costing us not just jobs at Petrotrin, but the little food sheds, the parlors, the fruit stalls, the doubles man, everything was closed down. Oil workers from Catskill and Coruscant would keep these businesses alive. Once Petrotrin was closed down, they also had to shut down more people on the breadline, more mouths to feed, more hunger, more strife. And I could tell you, as I walk through Moruga-Tableland, the cry of the unemployed is real. The cry of the single parent is real. The cry of the suffering constituent is real. Catskill is in my Burgess. I know well what I speak of, and Rowley and his best friends would also know well, because this is where the $100 million of fake oil came from. And it is so sad. If you take a drive through St. Mary's today, you will never believe that $100 million came out of Saunders Trace. We have nothing to show for that. I said, not this time. Do you remember that? I want to ask them. For some reason, they are campaigning with selective memory. But I want to ask them tonight, please remember all the hurt and pain you caused, not just Moruga-Tableland, but Trinidad and Tobago. The fake oil and his best friend. Again, answer the questions. What happened to the case of the fake oil? We want to know before August the 10th. Let me know now. Was that really the reason that Petrotrin was shut down? Where the thousands were placed on the breadline just to save Rowley Bestie? Come and save the hungry people of Moruga-Tableland and Trinidad and Tobago. I could tell you, because when I put myself forward to represent my brothers and sisters, I come from the belly of Moruga-Tableland. So when I speak on their behalf. I could tell you where the cave lands are. I could tell you where my brothers and sisters are seated on the block because there is nothing to do. I could tell you this. Please, Mr. Rowley, stop playing games with people's lives. Stop politicking in this low and demeaning manner. The people of MORUGA-Tableland will never forgive you. We are not a third-class citizens. We will not accept rejected ideas and persons. And you know who I'm talking about. We are a strong, proud, united family. MORUGA-Tableland is a family. When one is in need, we bind together. And when you touch one, you touch all. The people of MORUGA-Tableland have already rejected your last MP. And come August the 10th, 2020, they will reject your PNM government. The hope for the area of MORUGA-Tableland resides with the UNC and our visionary leader, Mrs. KAMLA PERSAD-BISSESSAR. We have already identified as significant areas of concern for immediate treatment. A new UNC government commits to our UNC Plan 2020. Lower corporate and personal taxes. We will create 50,000 jobs as preached by my political leader. And guess what? We're bringing 3,000 of those jobs in the first year to MORUGA-Tableland. Laptops for our children. As I walk through the constituency, will hear me, the children them have homework to do. And we have nothing to do it on. You took away their laptops. But myself and my political leader, we will bring them back. Infrastructural and development, roads and drainage and bridges that your government neglected. And I could call a list from Tableland to Lengua, Sadat Road. And the list goes on and on and on. Because for some reason, I think the PNM government does forget MORUGA-Tableland. And all of this come to do is Mama Guy. Development and infrastructure, although up MICHELLE in Saunders Straits, I want to call it a processing plant. But we will show you how we do it come 2020. Water in the taps. The suffering is real. From Marak, Laloon, Penal Rock Road, St. Mary's, Lengua, Indian Walk, Barrackpore. You could turn every tap and it dry. No online taxes. KAMLA promised that. Explain gate. We explain why gate has been taken away. But we coming back to implement and expand. Land for the landless. While my young brothers and sisters try to build house and they don't have land, we know what it is and we will give them that opportunity to be a homeowner and to build their houses. And more is coming. MORUGA-Tableland underneath the United National Congress. More is what you will get. A better quality of life is what you will get. This is true leadership from a leader and a party with a vision to better quality of lives for all our people. That leader is the Honorable KAMLA PERSAD-BISSESSAR. And that government will be the new UNC government after August 10th. Among the fears and the intimidation and scare tactics that the Rowley PNM is trying to win this election in MORUGA-Tableland, not one will work. So I am telling you, come August the 10th, vote Michelle Benjamin, vote KAMLA PERSAD-BISSESSAR, and let the United National Congress take all the pain and suffering away. Thank you.
Live from the United National Congress virtual platform, on the ballot now, the candidate for Chaguanas East, Vandana MOHIT.
Honorable political leader, Mrs. KAMLA PERSAD-BISSESSAR, my fellow winning candidates of the UNC, and to our viewing public, a very warm welcome and good evening to you. We are mere days away from a big change to take place in Trinidad and Tobago. That time is almost here, where you will be getting the most people-centered Prime Minister, Mrs. KAMLA PERSAD-BISSESSAR. As your candidate for the constituency of Chaguanas East, I am ready and prepared to continue to serve you to the best of my ability. My friends, if I am to speak of what I have done as mayor in 6 months, it will take up all of my time. I was born for this. Whilst growing up, I will watch Mrs. Bissessar on TV and never one day thought that I will serve under her leadership. It is always my pleasure to serve under her leadership because under her leadership, citizens benefited the most from governance. Today, being the youngest ever and female mayor of Chaguanas, I can safely say that young people of this country have a voice and places which await us. Whilst many are happy for young persons to join in governance of a country, some seem to be envious of such. One such person seems to be my opponent in Chaguanas East. To the young people who are following Clarence Rambrat, I want you to follow his statements. He is going on every media station claiming experience and maturity is on his side. I ask, Clarence, are you trying to say that society should be led by the experienced only? Well, boy, Clarence, I have less experience than you, and I did more than you ever did in your entire life. And trust me, the fight is real, eh? This Smalley is not a fly-by-night, and I am going to give you the worst election blows on August 10th. My opponent has been the candidate for Chaguanas East since 2019. Ask him what he did for Chaguanas East. He lost the entire constituency of Chaguanas East in the local government elections. Mind you, he was the coordinator. Clarence, you claim you have the youth support. What have you done for the young people of Enterprise? You are in government. The Das Trace ECC Center and the Egypt Primary School were abandoned by your government, and you never did anything in the interest of the residents. 9-year-olds are sitting at home awaiting placements in school, but I will help them. The Enterprise Community Center, you all abandoned it. And on the eve of election, you ran to bring contractors to begin works. What have you all been doing all along? Yet you claim to have the support of young people. The youth of Chaguanas East, I ask you, do not forget this wicked Rowley regime. On another note, Dr. Rowley came to Enterprise to share land tenure documents to the people of Enterprise. For years, these people cannot access social aid to fix their homes since they had no land tenure documents. You all denied these people assistance, and now you are running to give them documents to get their vote. Many persons are also telling me they are being promised land tenure documents. Trust me, they went to Elohim Road to promise the people. I brought them garbage collection. I fixed the agricultural road for them. Let me remind you, they never gave it to you before, so don't think they will give it to you now. They will keep it a promise because the lands known as Buddhist lands are not theirs. You cannot promise people what is not yours. The Rowley PNM government is trying very hard to win this election. The EBC must come clear. They came to me concerning Enterprise Government Primary School. Think about it. We ensured that it was up and running, getting the integrity report and all of that so voting can take place there. But mind you, polling stations are now being moved from proper school facilities to areas like a pan tent. I want to remind Chaguanas that as a young female aged 29, and yes, I have age and energy on my side. Unlike PNM Chaguanas, I know all of your issues, and your issues are mine. I have been walking the areas, beating the ground, and whilst I walk, I have been quickly attending to your issues raised with me. The pain of single mothers touches me most. I have already formulated single mother programs to allow them income-earning opportunities via food strips at designated areas in Chaguanas. I have supported youth in sport and curriculum through police youth clubs, steel band orchestras, football clubs, cricket clubs, and schools, just to ensure that they are in the right direction. I have supported mothers with rental, food, childcare, etc. during COVID-19 whilst they await this selfish government to give them grants. I have here with me hundreds of people in Chaguanas who are awaiting COVID-19 relief grants forwarded to the Minister of Social Development. Many of these persons, most of these persons, are still awaiting an acknowledgement. For the young people of Chaguanas, you will get your first state-of-the-art center completed under my tenure. The Cunupia Police Youth Club, which I have started with the support of the corporate citizens of Chaguanas. I have met with state lands, requesting lands for the Chaguanas Rural Technology Park to create employment by manufacturing and sale. I have a batch of documents which I've been writing to get assistance for the people of Chaguanas for these facilities already. I have been working for you. I have also met with traffic management, proposing a plan to ensure that we ease the stress of residents in the midst of the continuous development in Chaguanas East, an area where most of the country comes to shop. I have also met with the Commissioner of Police on safety and security issues and installation of security posts within the business district and key points within Chaguanas East. My dear people of Chaguanas East, it is important to remind you that my opponent has no plan for the people of Chaguanas East. I am a young person speaking to you. I am a young woman working for you. When you call on me, I will be right here to serve you. We, the women of the UNC, are all prepared to work under Mrs. KAMLA PERSAD-BISSESSAR in achieving all her goals as the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. I say to you, now is the time. Let's get TNT working again. I thank you.
From the United National Congress virtual platform, on the ballot now, the candidate for La HORQUETTAI Talparo and United National Congress Deputy Political Leader, Jerlean John.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to the viewing public. Good evening to the political leader. I thank you for this evening and my colleagues who went just before me. At 22 years old, I gave birth to my daughter and realized I had a major responsibility for that new life. I told the nurses in the maternity ward at that time, I'll never be back. They told me, you're right. We will see you back in 9 months' time. I never went back. And that baby is now an adult and a very talented attorney at law. In this week of Emancipation 2020, as a poor black picky-haired girl from Charlottesville, I checked all of these stereotypical boxes because I come from humble beginnings with no silver spoons and no early mentors. I was a single mother at 22. I want to affirm tonight to the young people of Las Lomas, of Jacob Hill and Wallerfield, of Talparo, Brazil, of La HORQUETTAI, if I can defy the odds and people's low expectations, so can you. The sun will rise. The sun will rise. During the tenure of KAMLA PERSAD-BISSESSAR as Prime Minister, the HEC constructed over 8,000 houses, and as a consequence, was handing out 100 keys every single week. Upon her assumption of office as Housing Minister, then Minister Marlene McDonald was asked by a reporter whether she'll continue handing out 100 keys per week, as was the then practice. Her response was, she said, that's foolishness and it has to stop. It stopped immediately. To the citizens whose only hope of ever having a place to call home is when you are allocated by the Housing Development Corporation, I'm assuring you that after August 10th, a UNC government will again be allocating 100 keys per week, every single week. The sun will rise on the HDC again. You'll recall the repurposing of the admin building into a 216-bed tower of San Fernando Teaching Hospital. KAMLA PERSAD-BISSESSAR, again as Prime Minister, could not have stomached the people there lying in the corridors waiting 2 and 3 days for a bed. She asked me as chairman of UDICOT, I need to get this building repurposed within 18 months. In 18 months, that building was repurposed and had 216 beds, that tower, the bed tower. As chairman of UDICOT, I personally chaired the multiple sessions of consulting with residents for the mobilization and construction of the ARIMA and Point Forting Hospital. Today, Dr. Rowley claiming it as his signature achievement, but I leave him in peace. What you do with someone who are about to lose their prime ministership, you say dust to dust and ashes to ashes. It's all over. When I left UDICOT, plans were in an advanced state for the rebuilding of the Port of Spain Hospital complex. Rowley scaled back the building, the entire complex, and decided that they are going to refurbish something called the Central Block. To date, not one block, not one bag of cement, not a nail. Residents of Port of Spain East, Belmont, St. Anne's, Marval, Mova, etc. A change is going to come. A change is going to come. A UNC government will rebuild the Port of Spain General Hospital when we return to office on the evening of 10th August. This will create good paying jobs in East Port of Spain. Jobs for the short, medium and long term, and also exponentially improve the quality of care offered at that institution. Do not be distracted by the naysayers who want you to doubt that Michelle will mash up Gypsy down in her constituency. Do not doubt that. MORUGA-TABLELAND is gone. And I look at Michelle here tonight, I'm happy to see her. She looked unfazed, she looks unbothered, because Michelle is a very smart campaigner. I'm certain the pollsters had not spoken to Ruplal from Huda Drive in Las Lomas, where 20 households depend on a half-inch pipe to provide water to each household, drip by drip. They know a change is going to come. They know that the sun is going to rise. Did they speak to Isaiah, who yesterday told me he had visited my office to speak with me, and I was not there? I asked him, what is so urgent? He said, I have to go to court on the 7th of August. I said, why? He said, for attempted murder. I said, when? He said, 2 years ago when I was 17 years. Who goes with you? My mother and lawyer. He's now 19 years old. Spoonhead, as he's called, desperately needs a change. He needs the sun to rise on his young, misguided life. What about Sharon, who lives in phase 4? Her son Sean died in 2013. Jabari died in 2014. Sherwin died in 2017. All three of her sons dead in the prime of their life. She wants change. She said, Miss John, I want change. I want to move from here. And a young man named Corey, whom the Prime Minister will call a pest, came to see me to advocate on behalf of a lady by the name of Marva. Marva's lights was disconnected because she couldn't pay the bill at the time. When she eventually got the money, TNTech came and they said, you have to rewire. So they told her $5,000 to rewire this house. A contractor told her that. She got it. But when he started, he said, it will cost a little more. And he left the job. Marva has lived in darkness for the last 5 years because she did not have the little more. Corey, who under other circumstances would have called a pest, came to me and said, please, Miss John, do something. I went to see her, and then I asked someone I know. You see, I use my mouth to advocate. I don't know what the Prime Ministers do with the mouth, but I use my mouth to advocate. Now, that didn't come out quite right, but I use it to advocate on behalf of the poor, of the downtrodden. On Tuesday, I felt a tap on my shoulder, and it was Miss Marva standing, she's a very dignified lady. And she said, I came to thank you. I said, there's nothing to thank me for. On Saturday, when you get your connection back, I'm coming to dinner. You'll thank me then. So there was a small cost for the new galvanized, a small cost for the rewiring, a cost for painting. For Corey's compassion, there's no charge. You think the poster passed by Corey and by Miss Marva? He didn't pass. So he doesn't know what the ground is saying. We don't live in the air. We live on the ground with the people. So I recount this interaction because people are described as responders to polls, as voters. They are just your everyday people who in many cases are struggling to get by. Politics is about people. Politics is not only about votes. Votes represent the people, and we have to understand that. And as the leader called us, she said, go out there and serve the people, serve the people, serve the people. So now in campaigning, I'll be scolded for no reason by residents who say, I only see you all at this time, and you never show up after. Sometimes it's tough to convince them that I'll be different, and that I will show up, that I work hard. We don't need the polls to tell us that the young people of La HORQUETTAI Talparo have said they don't want CPEP. They want training, they want discipline, they want purpose, they want something to aspire to. They want change, and they want that change to come now. How would we have known that the young men liming on the corner loved agriculture? How would we have found out that they could work hard, and in fact love working hard, that they are bright and they articulate? Rowley will not tell those young men and women what are his policies which will save and sustain their lives. How will he create jobs to ensure a life of sustainability? I drive along you drive along any of the road. I drive sometimes along Cascade Road over the Lady Young, and you see young men and women. Some are welders, some have over 5 or 8 passes, as they say. Some have their certificate in electrical repair. Some are builders, but yet, the PNM just say, he get a CPEP, she get a CPEP, everybody get a CPEP. They don't work, they are lazy people. Everything one size fits all. And now in La HORQUETTAI, they are giving them some drains to build, some small contracts. And what they are telling me, they say, no, on the 11th, that's done. So mother, if you win, La HORQUETTAI have to vote over. That's what they're saying. They're desperate. They are desperate for change. They know a change must come. A change must come. Because those drains that they are building, many times it becomes their final resting place. We have to change. We have to find a way. And I say, Kamla PERSAD-BISSESSAR, she has a plan. She has a plan to create 50,000 jobs. And when you are doing those jobs, we cut the personal income taxes, so more money in your pocket. To cut the VAT on food stuff. The UNC government, people ask, why are you different? We are different because we are passionate and we care and we are compassionate. We care about people, we care about the poor. A change is going to come. A change is going to come. So just keep the faith. UNC, keep your feet on the ground. Don't look to no pollster. Keep with the people, and the people will keep with you. If you are true to the people will be true to you. So keep the faith with Sobers, keep the faith with Michelle. As I said, Michelle is going to win Moruga Tableland. I know pollster can't tell me different because I know she's working hard and she's a good servant of the people. Keep the faith with Miss Greene in TOCO Sandy Grande. She's a hard worker. Hear that passionate speak. With Vandana, brilliant and hard working. Just keep the faith. UNC will not fail you. Kamla Persad will not fail you. We will not fail Trinidad and Tobago. Keep hope alive. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Now is the time to get it right with the brightest candidates, a tested master plan, and most of all, a progressive political party, the United National Congress. It's with great honor to present to the nation and the thousands online, on air, and around the world, the clear choice for Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. On the ballot now, Senior Counsel, KAMLA PERSAD-BISSESSAR.
Good evening, everyone. Trinidad and Tobago family, my UNC family. Are you ready? We are just 11 days away from saving Trinidad and Tobago. Come August 10th, the UNC will win the election and we will be ready to govern. Up to today, 11 days to go, the Raleigh government has not produced any plan about how they will govern Trinidad and Tobago. We know how they governed for the past 5 years, totally incompetent, causing what I call sufferation in this land, and they have not a plan. I have presented to the country this document, a National Economic Transformation Master Plan. I did this since last October. In my budget response, I told the nation, and we have it up on our UNCplan2020.com. It's there. Since then, we have been modifying this plan because from then to now, COVID has intervened. And I want to let you know that come August 11th, we will be ready because we already have our budget statement 2021. We have prepared a draft budget statement 2021. So we will hit the ground running. We'll be ready to govern, to transform these plans, to make them a reality, to get Trinidad and Tobago working again. Let's vote them out so we can get TNT working again. So my friends, you know, I'm here with you. I miss you all so very much. I wish we could be, as we usually are, meeting and greeting, where we'd see so many young children waving the flags, you know, the food vendors outside, of course, bellman ringing the bell, you know, in the real world. But we are in an unreal world, and so we have to adapt to the new normal as we come out of COVID, all the restrictions that we are. There is only one choice in this election. That choice is very clear. There is only one choice. and the UNC is the only choice. Only choice. We need a team to get our country working again. And the best option, the only political party in all these parties that have been mushrooming and existing, the only party that has a plan is the UNC. Only party with a plan. Only party. And so we have to prepare for post-Rowley Trinidad and Tobago. And we have been doing that. Our opponents have continued what they started before the 2015 election. They have continued it. What? Blame KAMLA. Blame KAMLA. And when you're tired doing that, blame KAMLA again. That has been their narrative. That has been their mantra. And they're continuing that narrative. It's amazing. They have not been able to point to name one single achievement to talk about. But now you're trying to convince people that you managed well. You managed COVID well. You managed a health crisis well. You cannot point to one achievement. And when you point to one, as Jearlean John just told you, those were projects by the United National Congress together with our partners in government. So, they want you to forget about the pain of the last 5 years. They want you to stay focused on COVID and the lockdown and all the restrictions. They want you to live in a country where there is only fear. The only thing that they bring is fear, F-E-A-R. They want to make you fearful. They want to make you afraid. They cannot uplift us. They cannot give us hope. So we must vote them out on August 10th. We are living in unprecedented times. But not enough is being done to keep people employed, to earn incomes. Nothing is being done to ensure our economy can recover. Remember, they have almost 5 years of incompetence, no plan, no ideas from this Rowley government. 11 days away from an election, and the sitting government, the Rowley government, is yet to present a plan. What do they expect you to vote on? Do you think that their insults and their lies and blame of me will get them votes? No, they will not. We will vote them out for incompetence. We will vote them out. They'll be coming to blame everything, as they've been doing. They destroyed the economy. All the good work we did in the partnership government I led, they have destroyed all of that. How can you believe that this government, when they say they will take this nation out of COVID, when the reality is that the Rowley government crashed the country long before COVID? So if you could not govern before COVID, you cannot govern during COVID. You cannot govern after COVID. It will take a UNC government to make this country back onto a pathway of growth, development, and to get people working again. It will take a UNC government. So, I'm asking you, never ever forget. Never ever forget what they've done in the last 5 years to the people of this land, what they've done to this nation, they've done to our country. Never ever ever forget that. We must never forgive the Rowley government for the 65,000 jobs that were lost before COVID. We must never forgive them for that 65,000 jobs lost before COVID. And we must never forgive them for the jobs, thousands now, over 100,000 lost during COVID. We must never forgive them for that. And so we must remember that this Rowley government destroyed the very essence of our nation, the very soul of our nation before COVID. Before COVID. And how did they do that? Through their incompetence, through their laziness, arrogance. And imagine a man will sit on a big chair and tell you, they ain't riot yet. Come August 10th, we will riot with our votes as we vote them out. August 10th, we will. And so, my friends, we are very clear that they have failed the people of this country. They have failed. Our task, the task of the UNC, is to rescue our country from this oppressive government, to get to work immediately to rebuild our country, and to renew, to transform TNT into a prosperous nation. So our task is to rescue, rebuild, and renew. And we have a plan to get us there. We have the plan. We have the transformation plan. We have the plan to rescue. We have the plan to rebuild. And we have the plan to renew and transform our country. Unlike this government, we have been hard at work developing those plans to take us forward. And we will work, as I say, to restore and protect the economic and social pillars of our nation. Not only has the Rowley regime failed to diversify and expand on our economic framework, they have broken and destroyed the existing components of our nation. Under this regime, as an example, we have seen total chaos throughout the energy sector. 9 plants have shut down in Point Lisas. 9, you know. And that had nothing to do with COVID. That had to do with Rowley and his incompetence. Nothing to do with COVID. And when these plants shut down, it's not closing a door, you know. It's people losing their jobs. Every time one closes, a job loss. And then the family suffers. Families are suffering in this country. And the job losses are continuing. They have not one plan to tell us how to take the country forward. Compare that now to the energy sector when we were there. 2010 to 14, we had almost a four-time increase in energy-related foreign direct investment into our land. From US $549 million, 2010, 549 million US. Up to 2014, our last full year, we had FDI of US $1.9 billion. $1.9 billion. So when it is people today, the businesses are crying out they do not have foreign exchange, it is because you're closing these plants. These plants would have sold products abroad. You would have got foreign exchange. And of course, we are so investor-friendly. So investor-friendly that we attracted $1.9 billion in foreign direct investment. Again, creating the forex that is needed to keep the country running. So businesses now are crying and suffering lack of foreign exchange. Why? Shut down 9 plants. Fire workers, send them home. Send them home. No foreign direct investment. I continue with the energy sector, the comparisons. 2012 to 2014, 9 deep water production sharing contracts were awarded. And you know what that resulted in? Over US $1 billion in investment by BHP. $1 billion US. And it's on this, in this project that we did, this is the basis of the boasting by Rory about deep water exploration happening at the moment. All of that happened under my watch. 9 deep water production sharing contracts, resulting in over US $1 billion. Again, during my watch, Galeota, the port down at Galeota, we completed phase 1, US $80 million. And I commit tonight, as I have done before, that we will complete phase 2 at the Galeota port, energy port. And you know why? We can make that port a regional energy logistics hub. Look at that. Suriname is going out in oil and gas. Guyana is shooting up into the skies. I just wish they would get the results done with. We may have an election and we get the results before they even finish theirs, months later. So let us pray that doesn't happen here. And I pause to segue away for a bit. By the way, I am very, very disturbed and concerned about the behavior of Rowley and his government when it comes to the issue of the international observers. I'm exceedingly worried because he knew what he had to do. He was in London for the last Shogam in 2018, when the Observer Group and the Commonwealth put out the new guidelines indicating that they will pay for everything. The cost will be borne by the Secretariat and not by the host government. But there was a process. And everybody in this country knew 2020 was an election year. So you don't wait till you call the date then to look for them. The process agreed to in London at the Shogam was that you'll give us a few months' notice that you're expecting an election. Every child in this country knows 2020 was an election year. How come Rowley didn't know that? How come Rowley didn't know that? So don't believe he didn't know. All of this is devised to prevent proper observations on election day by the international community. So you knew that. You could have written to the Commonwealth observers and others, the OS and all these others, Carter Center, etc. They're willing and able to come, but it's only the government can invite him. People say, well, Kamla, why don't you do it? We cannot. That is the protocol. That is how it operates. So I am very worried. I do not think it is by chance. I do not think it is by accident. I believe it is deliberate on their part not to have the observers here. And therefore, what it means for us, we have to be exceedingly, eternally vigilant with every aspect of the voting process. When it starts with the special voters starting on Monday, I believe, starting from then or even before then, we have to put our systems and machinery into place because no one else will do it for us. Their job is not to help us win. Their job is to make sure we lose. Our job is to make sure that the UNC wins so we can save Trinidad and Tobago. That's our job. So I call on all UNC activists and supporters, get yourself together and hit the road starting from Monday with respect to election machinery. Special voters Monday and continuing right down and until we get the main voters, all the other voters. So yes, you're campaigning and we are campaigning, but put the election machinery in place and be eternally vigilant. That is how we will go forward. So I've talked about the Galeota port and our plans there. Again, talking in the energy sector. In 2013, under my watch, NGC acquired assets in Angostura oil and gas field valued around US $500 million. In 2014, BP Juniper, US $2.1 billion was approved for that Juniper project. This is the largest single investment in the oil and gas industry ever. US $2.1 billion under my watch. 2014, 3 onshore licenses for exploration valued at US $55 million investment could result in a possible expenditure of US $945 million. We awarded these contracts under my watch again. This is bringing in investment, bringing in foreign exchange. In 2015, Mitsubishi CGCL methanol plant brought in $967 million US investment. This plant is now weeks away from startup. That plant came in here under my watch. At its peak, that plant created construction jobs, 3,000 jobs, and sustained work for thousands of contractors and suppliers. Jobs. We have to get the economy going again. In 2013, under my leadership, NGC recorded the highest post-tax profit ever recorded by a TNT company. TT $6.5 billion. Highest ever by a TNT company. Up to now, the NGC has not published its 2019 financials. Not 2020, no, last year financials. Why? Is it because they ran at a loss from a profit-making company that we had NGC doing? Has it now gone into red? Has it gone into red? Has it gone into red, which means it failed, it's in debt? Tell us the truth. Anything turn in red? Trouble. Squeezy, I hear Squeezy every day. We are on these motorcades, you know, and Squeezy's on the truck, and he's talking and, you know, telling people come out and Squeezy. He said, boy, everything turning yellow in Trinidad. Even the Banishe turning yellow. And to prove it, he brought one for us to see. He brought one for us to see that even if Barige tell you, well, listen, I've been up and down over the last several weeks, all over, campaigning and so on. I can tell you safely, the whole of TNT has gone yellow. The whole of TNT has gone yellow. Continuing, from 2011 to 2015, under my watch, we awarded 1.42 million hectares of acreage for exploration. 1.42 million hectares of acreage for exploration. This government, since coming into office, they have awarded 41,000 hectares. So from 1.42 million, they've gone down to 42,000. Because the more of this acreage that we give, the more we can get investment, the more the exploration is important to keep the sector going. Our policies and fiscal incentives under my government led to a significant turnaround in exploration and production activity. This was, can be evidenced by an increase in drilling activity. Listen, under our watch, 1,132 rig days in 2010. We took that in 2015 when we left to 2,765 rig days, drilling. In 2019, this figure has fallen under this red government down to 1,445 rig days. So you see what has happened in the energy sector. You can't blame KAMLA for all these things. When KAMLA was there, everything was up and spinning and booming and booming. Don't blame me for your failure. Don't blame me for your incompetence. I'm not taking that, Mr. Rowley. And on the 10th, my troops will come out, we will come out, and we will vote you out of office. We will vote you out of office. So the rig days dropped again. So I ask you now, as we ask, are you better off today than you were 5 years ago? No. The answers are clear, no. Are you better off today than you were 5 years ago? No. Answer is no. As we see the government now continues to blame everyone else for rising COVID cases. They blamed our nationals who returned from overseas. Listen, they even blaming me. They even blaming me for the new cases of COVID. I mean, you ever hear more madness than that? They're blaming me and the UNC. You know, I don't understand it. Rowley went in to say he opened borders. Hear this, huh? He opened borders for UNC friends. Name one UNC friend you opened the border for. Over 4,000 people came. You opened borders for Delcy, Astural, and all those other people under sanction. Are they friends of the UNC friend? No. That's your friends and family, sir. That's your friends and family. Hear what he said. Let me finish it. He said he opened borders for UNC friends. He wants to pin it on us. He's saying that the drip of people were bringing the virus. You know, can this man ever one in his life take responsibility for anything? We always have to find someone to blame. Are you such a victim? Will you ever take responsibility for the people of this land? No. That is why on August 10th we are going to vote you out. That's why. The last time I spoke, I highlighted the low levels of testing we continue to have. Low testing. 5 months ago, they promised to increase testing. Yet since then, they have conducted about 5,000 unique tests. Not repeat testing, huh? Because sometimes you have to test people 3 and 4 and 5 times. Poor Ian Alleyne, when he went in there one day, they tested positive, next day negative, next day positive, next day negative. What was going on? So unique testing, about 5,000 in our population. And you know what? They want you to believe that they are #1 in the world. Trinidad and Tobago is ranked at 162, 162nd in the world with regard to testing. We are nowhere near that #1 rank they want us to believe. And then, you know, they spent so much time propagandizing the Oxford study, which in nowhere said that wasn't ranking you anyway, you know. Nowhere at all. That was pure propaganda. The real problem facing us here is a Minister of Health and a Rowley government who hide behind government propaganda, press conferences, instead of doing their jobs. The Minister will not increase the testing. They hold these press conferences, sometimes 3 times a day they were holding press conference. Boy, when you see the face, you just turn off the TV. Fed up, fed up, fed up, fed up. Every minute they're in your face, every hour on the radio in your ears. Look, make sure August 10th we vote them out. Let's get them out, get them out, get them out. So the propaganda, that's what it is. Press conference. And no one in that Rowley government is holding themselves responsible. No responsibility. As a leader, you have to take responsibility. The buck stops with you. You must stand up as a man and take responsibility. You can't continue to blame the world. These are the facts. They have lied to us about increasing testing over the last 5 months. Lied, lies, lies. And here we are. 5 months. Let me give you these numbers. Maybe about, because since I last did the research to now may have changed later in the day. So listen to this. Over the past 5 months, these are testing numbers, okay? China, big country, yes, 90.5 million tests. USA, 56 million tests. India, 18 million. UK, 15 million. Spain, 6.7 million. Turkey, 4.6 million. Singapore, small country, 1.32 million. Zimbabwe, 122,000. Jamaica, 37,000. Even Jamaica better than us. Guadeloupe, 15,000. Martinique, 12,000. Trinidad and Tobago, about 6,900. That's about 40 per day. Are you for real? Are you for real and you're handling COVID well? You're patting yourself on the back and say you're doing so well? Are you for real, Mr. Rowley? If you ask any scientist in these related fields, we should have tested at least 10% of our population to get a true picture of our infection status. At least 10%. We are nowhere near there. For months they have lied. They flattened the curve by doing what? By flattening the testing. So they flattened no curve, they flattened the testing, and have been lying to us for months. They propagandized, as I told you, the Oxford COVID-19 tracker. That clearly stated it should not be interpreted as scoring appropriateness and effectiveness of a country's response to COVID. It clearly said that. But they so want to lie and fool people. They say they're number 1 according to the Oxford tracker. They didn't care, they were blatantly lying. Our country is amongst the worst with regards to testing 160 seconds, as I told you. Terrible Terrence has displayed dishonesty and gross incompetence and should take full responsibility for their failures. If they cannot handle COVID-19, why you expect them to handle a post-COVID Trinidad and Tobago? Don't get fooled. Don't get chained up. That's what they do. They stand on platforms, radio, TV, and they chain you up with lies. They chain you up with lies. We have to see beyond the red now, and we must look for the red, white, and black, which is our country, which is our nation. What is in the best interest of the red, white, and black Trinidad and Tobago? That's what we have to look for. That's what we have to look for. New guidelines now. Almost every day you're getting public health regulations. They can't even get that right. Every day it keeps changing until you get so confused you don't know which is the present regulation. But I got a little concern. The new election COVID-19 guidelines for polling day released yesterday. Now there's several things about it that we are concerned about, but I'll just raise one point here tonight and we'll raise the others elsewhere. This is what it says. People who are exhibiting symptoms of COVID-19 should not be allowed entry. You hear that? People who are exhibiting symptoms of COVID-19 should not be allowed entry into the poll station. How are you going to decide that? Is it going to be the presiding officer who says, hey, you exhibiting symptoms, go out, don't vote? If you see Michelle walking, well, you know Michelle's at UNC. Michelle, sorry, you looking like you have this thing. Stay home. Nabila, you can't come in the station. Flora, you can't come. Vanda, none of us. All they have to do is look at you and they know you are UNC. And they say, what? You are exhibiting COVID symptoms. Madness. Who determines if a person is symptomatic? Is there a doctor who will verify these symptoms? So you'll have to put a doctor in every police station? You'll have to put a doctor in every station? What you'll do, you import them from Cuba? We don't have a doctor to put any, how many police stations we have? Over 1,000 plus something. In my district, I have 29 polling divisions. In my constituency, about 29. And those 29 are split up into different stations. Yes? So for the 41 constituencies, what madness is this? What madness? Again, designed to kill us and steal the election, politically kill us. That's what that is. So who will say, under this new rule, who is going to make that call to say you cannot come in to vote? This is a serious matter. This is a very, very, very serious matter. And you know, before I go further, I want to clear up some confusion. I want to say the EBC cannot legally disenfranchise anyone for not having a mask. They cannot disenfranchise any citizen from exercising their right to vote because you do not have a mask. They cannot do it. Therefore, they're wearing, I'm not saying don't wear masks. I'm saying it should be optional. If we have, how many voters? 800,000? What, we have to find 800,000 masks? How much for a mask? How many millions of dollars are we speaking about? How many millions of dollars? You are going to put a fetter in law, you're saying you're putting a constitutional obstacle on the right of a citizen to vote. You can't do that. The EBC doesn't have the power in law. Remember your powers. We took you to court when you extended the voting illegally and we won that part of the case. You don't want to come to tell us, you're going to say you're looking like a COVID ban, don't come to vote. You want to tell us you don't have a mask, don't come to vote. The EBC does not have that power. The wearing of the mask should be optional. And I will urge UNC people and all people to wear the mask. I urge you to do it, but you cannot disenfranchise a voter on that basis. If you don't have a mask, it should not be that you are barred from voting. So we have been asking the government should provide those masks. The government should provide, how much months now they're providing masks? And Terence the asking first, remember, when we told all the masks, he said, no, don't wear no mask. Then he come back, well, you have to wear the mask. Fellow totally confused, total confusion. The government, if they want this to happen, should pay for the masks. They announced to the nation that they will provide masks, right? Anybody get a mask from the government? No. Just like the LED light bulb. Anybody get a light bulb? No bulbs. So, in Parliament, one of my MPs had asked a question. How much is it costing for the masks? The government said they would provide it. And Minister confused Terry Biasing, he got up and he said, there will be no cost for no mask. The government is providing it as free. We have NGOs making it free. And why he there lying in the Parliament, telling a lie? Elsewhere, there's a tender put out in the newspaper, put out by, I don't know if it's Unicot or one of those companies, a tender for people to tender to provide the mask to give you a price on your proposal. All that has happened, lies again. And guess what? No masks for anyone. So this is, you see how many things we have to monitor in this election? You know, when I was a law student, I want to quote from you something that's always stayed in my mind as I raise all these obstacles that could be placed in our way to prevent a free and fair election. And it was a passage from a judge known as, in the United States, his name was Judge Learned Hand. He said, do not rest your faith upon constitutions, upon courts, and upon law. A judge, you know, in the US Supreme Court. Do not rest your faith, your hopes in constitutions, in courts, and the law. He says, because liberty lies in the hearts of men and women. Whilst liberty lives there, it needs no constitution, no court, no law to save it. But when it dies there, no constitution, no court, no law can do anything to help it. So you have to keep that liberty, that spirit of freedom and justice in your hearts and come out on August 10. No matter what they try to do us, we must make sure and get those votes in and vote them out. In a matter of days, we will celebrate our independence again, days after the election. Let us not go into another election, another independence anniversary under the yoke of this wicked PNM government. Let us bring in Independence Day this year with a new UNC government to ensure that liberty remains in the hearts of all men and women. That is our job. Contrary to what Rowley and his people are trying to do, misinformation and lies, paint the UNC negative, I want to remind people of this nation that when the crisis first came about, we put forward several recommendations to government. Remember that. Let me remind you, they don't want you to remember those things. It is even more important to remember how many times we tried in the parliament to get this matter debated as an urgent matter. But the PNM House Speaker said, no, 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 not urgent. Over and over, not urgent, not urgent. On the very day when the World Health Organization, following their rule, the president of our country issued an order, a proclamation that this coronavirus was a very dangerous and deadly infectious disease. The same day, in the parliament, they read out the order. That same day, this PNM speaker tells us, not PNM speaker, she's Rowley's speaker. Let's get it clear. It is Mr. Rowley put her there, a speaker. He told his members, you vote. That's how a speaker is elected. The MPs vote. What do the MPs do? They ask the leader, what shall we do? And a decision is taken. So Rowley's speaker, she said it was not urgent. It was not important. And repeated that even though our members tried over and over again. Her words were, she was not satisfied that it was urgent enough for debate. Now it is worth noting, because of the work of the government island, we have new infrastructure in the health sector. Again, Gillian mentioned those things for us tonight. The Children's Hospital, you know their objection to that, the name? Just to say they did something different, they wanted to call the name Children and just call it the Kuva something facility. Spite and malice. What they have against children, good point. The Cora facility, we had outfitted that facility. We opened a state-of-art nursing academy, first of its kind in this country, up in El Dorado. We started the ARIMA, Jillian told you, point 14. We built the stamina up, so we had the health facilities. We had started to put that in place, and as JJ mentioned tonight, we were looking at the Port of Spain General Hospital. So whilst they boast they're fighting COVID, they can only do so because we left them with the infrastructure to deal with this crisis. Today we are seeing the reality behind their actions. They have failed the people in the fight against COVID. Do not fall for their lies when he says we do not have a plan to deal with COVID-19, meaning us. When the first case broke, it was me as opposition leader requesting that my team and I meet to discuss this issue. That's way back when in January sometime, you know. We asked him. In early March, we met with him. We produced a written plan with 5 pillars to deal with this crisis. Now he wants you to believe we have no plan. I said, they print some nonsense and lies in the newspaper. Don't take it on. This is what really happened. We tried to raise it in the parliament repeatedly. Then in March, we asked, let's meet. Before we went in, my team and I, we put something together, so we didn't just go there to talk, and not walk. We went in with 5 pillars, which we saw the international community facing. As I say, you don't have to invent the wheel. There are people doing things that you can get models from and follow protocol. So, pillar one, protecting the vulnerable. Protecting the vulnerable. 2, protecting the economy. 3, protecting our citizens' social safety net and standard of living. 4, ensure our medical response follows international best practice. And 5, rebuilding our future as we ease out of the crisis. 5 pillars. 5 pillars. And he said we had nothing. We have no plan to deal with COVID. We had, and we still have. His team continued to score political points. Yet they failed to mention the thousands who have suffered since this emerged, this crisis. They have failed to the population to tell the population how many have lost their jobs. Do you know the last time we got unemployment numbers in this country was in June 2017. They have been hiding the data. They will not give the data of the job losses because, of course, it will show their incompetence. Since June 2017, we have June 2018, June 2019, 3 years, June 2020, 3 years of no unemployment data. You know why? Because over 100,000 under this incompetent government have lost their jobs. They will not tell you how small businesses are suffering. They hide the number of businesses which have closed down. But I'll tell you one thing they cannot hide. They cannot hide the suffering everywhere. Because everywhere I visit while on this campaign, people have been crying out, as I'm sure has been happening with you. They have no jobs. They have no food. Sometimes they say they have no place to sleep because they can't pay the rent, they've lost their homes. And you know, no one from this government seems to care about these people. Michelle spoke of the suffering down in Moruga. I'm sure NABILA will tell you the same. In TOCO, I'm sure Jay will tell you the same. In HORQUETTAI, VANDANA and Chaguanas, FLORA and ARIMA. Everywhere we go, it's the same. There is such despair and suffering under this rowdy government. And now, I think our plan is, as from the beginning, is to ensure the best medical practices, proper testing is adhered to, while we work with businesses and citizens to protect their way of life. We believe that we can defeat this virus without plunging our nation into a complete economic collapse, or it's already collapsed. And that is why I mentioned before, and I want to do it again tonight, I announced that we will introduce a wage subsidy for businesses. These are small and medium-sized businesses. We will work to enable more incentives to get businesses back on their feet. Why? The businesses create the jobs. And the jobs create the product. And the products create more product and more product that we can sell and earn revenue streams. Many in the business community have indicated to me that the forecast over the next 6 months brings about even more uncertainty under this government. In light of this, a new UNC government will immediately put in place a 6-month wage subsidy program. Hear me? A 6-month wage subsidy program. Many governments all over the world are doing a similar exercise during this crisis. Our aim is to prevent any further job loss, layoffs, and business closures, to prevent that, and to create a foundation to build out our National Transformation Plan 2020-2025. Our plan will create some 50,000 new jobs, and almost immediately we can help to save 50,000 jobs already. We'll have a positive impact on the services sector. Listen to the areas where we'll be seeking to give the wage subsidy. Services sector. Services sector. It primarily for retail products. Entertainment. Oh God, man, the performers, Squeezy Boy, Brian Mohan, the entertainment industry is suffering. We have to help them. Professional services, restaurant and hospitality business, amongst others. These are not a closed list, but this is where we can go to give that wage subsidy. Some may argue that subsidies are costly. True. The cost of losing hundreds more business and thousands more jobs will be even more detrimental to our country. Will be even more detrimental. With this plan, it will give also gave many micro businesses and workers an opportunity to register and regularize themselves as part of the formal economy. We will continue to work with labor and encourage, improve and strengthen the regimes of wage protection and labor relations as we did during our 2010-2015 term in office. We settled over 143 wage negotiations, man. They have not settled a single wage negotiation in 5 years. So we will strengthen the regimes of wage protection and labor relations as we did before, work that we had begun. Unlike the P&M salary grant, which is yet to be paid. Anybody get his salary grant? No. Yet to be paid. Thousands have requested. 4 months later, nothing. 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 Somebody told me, Minister WPC Camille was on a platform talking about how much grants and how many things they gave. And they said she was saying X amount, but on the screen had a different amount. I can't remember the exact number now. So like she doesn't even know what's happening out of her ministry. Because that's the ministry that gives out the grants. So they're lying again. What is the truth? What was on the screen or what was coming out when you spoke? Tell us that, WPC, Camille Robinson Richies. So they have the salary grant nobody's getting. It was some soft loan program. Anybody get that? No. I'm saying our plan will guarantee almost immediate job retention and re-employment of workers who will be laid off. This wage subsidy program. Almost immediately, we can put that into place to retain the jobs and to re-employ the workers who might have been let go because of the COVID problems. The wage subsidy program for the micro and small business sector is a complementary measure to our transformation plan. As I say, this plan we develop and we are tweaking it as time passes. So this is added to our plan as a complement to that plan for transformation. How will we operationalize the plan? This is how we intend to do it. Our team has looked at it. The plan is 75% wage subsidy up to the minimum wage per employee, okay? So we will subsidize 75% wage subsidy out of a minimum wage. Secondly, the cost per each of these, $1,750 by 8 hours by 22 days is $3,080, okay? Then the subsidy will be $2,310 per worker. Yes. The target will be 50,000 jobs. Total cost, listen to me carefully, total cost for the 6-month subsidy program, $693 million TT dollars. You believe that? So don't come and tell me we can't afford that when you have already spent $20 billion and nobody's getting anything. Jobs are just being lost and lost and lost. 693 million, which works out to TT 115.5 million per month. Per month. Rowley, them paintings you buy, let's sell them back now. We'll get a few millions right there. Sell them back. Sell them back. But that big fancy sports car you bring in, pay the tax on it. You want to tax everybody, you pay tax on it. Give the taxpayer back their money. That's what you can do. Look at this thing. 50,000 jobs we can get back almost instantly at the cost of 115.5 million per month. We can afford this, what you all think. We can afford this. And we must find a way to afford it to get TNT working again. We have to find a way. As I say, compare this 693 million in immediate relief for people, our citizens, to the 20 billion which has disappeared under Rowley in the fight against COVID. $20 billion. I don't know if you can imagine what $1 billion look like. I don't even know. I don't have an idea what that could look like. 20 billion, you know. That is money. Just disappeared. Our plans will cost less than 1 billion to bring relief to workers and get them back to work. We have a proper plan which is based on protecting your physical, economic, and social well-being. I talked to you about infrastructure. And we are seeing again, Michelle spoke, oh God, Michelle. I was with Michelle on a truck, which day? Monday. Man, when I reach home, I feel like I had a sail on one of them boats going on the Bocas, sailing across the Bocas to reach Tobago. I mean, when like this, it was amazing. Those roads are not just by you. Our roads and bridges and drainage has deteriorated to the worst ever. You no longer have a road, all you have is pothole. All you have is pothole. And infrastructure, now look what happened now. They're paving everywhere. I mean, nearly 5 years. And they think people are stupid, they think we are foolish. You're paving now, days before an election. I understand. They said they're not even asking people to move their cars if they can't park up on the road. I don't know if it's true, they're not even asking to move the car. They're just walking around and paving around the car. They just want to pave. They will not fool us this time. You did it once, you will not do it again. You will not do it again. So, failed infrastructure, roads, bridges, yes? Drainage. Now, a lot of investment is needed to uplift our infrastructure again. They never maintained it. If they had, it would not be so bad, and financing. Now, I spoke about a method of financing large-scale projects. I'll come to that in a minute, because these fellows just don't understand financing. They just don't understand. And I'd like to outline some of the projects we will undertake with infrastructure, and how we plan to do it. We'll invite private investors to bid. Understand? So I don't have to go in the treasury, which you will leave empty. We will invite private investors to bid in these projects, and therefore they will become revenue-earning projects. So, some infrastructural work, redesignated Chaguanas as a special development zone. Create a Southwest Peninsula special development zone linking Citrus to Moruga. I have the details for it, but in the interest of time, we'll put it up, these details for you, yes. And the plan, of course, is up. Create a Southeast Peninsula special development zone linking Manzanilla to Mayaro. Build a highway system to link economic zones and growth poles. That Point 14 highway will extend into Citrus, yes. Tahaka, we will help you down there. We will extend the highway down to Citrus. 5, establish an aircraft maintenance, repair, and operations hub at Piaco. So these projects are all over. There will be others, of course, that are more localized. These are the larger projects that we will look at in terms of infrastructure. And so, Mr. Rowley, we will leverage the strengths that we have in order to get TNT working again. So, Mr. Rowley, 11 days to go, tomorrow will be 10 days to go. I call upon you to tell the nation what you will do to transform the economy, what you will do to get people working again. Don't come at your bacchanal. You know, and by the way, I didn't plan this, but let me tell you, all these lies and all these corruption lies, do you all know, in law there's something called recusal. That is, you don't sit down in a meeting if you have something called a conflict of interest. What is a conflict of interest? It is where you know somebody, your friend or your family or yourself, have a way to benefit from the decision that is being taken. Do you know Stuarty Boy, in 5 years? He has recused himself on 57 occasions from the cabinet meeting. 57. You know what that is? That is almost a whole year of cabinet meetings. You know why? Once a week. Cabinet meetings are once per week. This man has recused himself 57 times, more than a year. And what was it about? Conflict of interest related to his family. I have the documents, you know. These documents were sent based on a Freedom of Information application. And so we have the document from the Cabinet of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. that Minister of Everything Stole, Purpose, Flower and all, Stuart Young, 57 times recused himself because of a conflict of interest from the cabinet making, yes, decisions. Another day I'll tell you about our rental, because we also got the data of how many times he recused himself, because again, related to family. So let's move along. So don't come with corruption, don't come with that. You have been the most corrupt government in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Most corrupt. So don't come here to point fingers at anybody. You have been there for 5 years almost. And no one lock up you. Every day for 5 years, they're going to lock up you and lock up you and lock up you and lock up you and lock up. And the only one get locked up is Big Mac. The only one get locked up is Big Mac. Following money for 5 years. So don't get fooled, my friends. 10 days from tomorrow, 11 days to go from now. Don't get fooled with that chain of foolishness. They did it in 2015 and started the same man who told this nation that the reason why he joined Rowley was because of email gate. Imagine that. He joined Rowley because of a fraudulent piece of paper, email gate. No shame, none whatsoever. So these are some projects. Mr. Rowley, you have 11 days to go. Come and tell us. Tell us. So let me talk about the financing mechanism I announced lastly. And it's in the plan. I didn't make it up. It's in the day since October last year, September, October. They have no plan. The only plan now is the blame and the paving. Paving wrong people's car and whatever. The dog too, if dog in the road move, because paving you two up on the road. Now I hear Mr. Rowley and his former friend, I don't know if they're still friends, Mr. LeHunt, they seem to agree on one thing. They agree with our proposed National Infrastructure Development Fund. They're both going around and they're saying that the UNC plans to raid the funds of Unit Trust Corporation and the National Insurance Board. You hear lie? More lies, more lies. That is a completely baseless allegation without any merit whatsoever. We made it clear that our plan is to establish a National Infrastructure Fund using, listen to me, read my lips as they say, using the idle cash balances of UTC and NIB. The idle cash balances. You know, as a self-proclaimed senior banker, Mr. Hunt, you don't seem to understand that. You don't seem to understand idle cash balances, what that means. Idle cash balances mean cash which is parked up in the bank accounts and earning no returns. Just park up there, just sitting down there, in the UTC, in the NIB. The idle cash balances in no way, shape or form the NIB's National Pension Fund or the UTC's mutual funds. You see, that's how they understood it, because that's what they did. That's what they did in their time, pulling out funds from these pension plans and mutual funds. The funds I am speaking of are legally separate and distinct from the respective institution, whether NIB or Unit Trust. And so it seems that Mr. Hunt doesn't understand. Doesn't understand. Maybe that is why the bank that he was in Ghana, it failed. That bank failed, eh? Maybe that's why, because he doesn't understand. And it also explains the disastrous manner in which the Rowley regime has mismanaged every aspect of our economy. Now, Rowley I could understand, because we know he don't know nothing about financials. He doesn't know anything about economy. So he's saying, we are planning to raid whatever. He too just does not get it. Doesn't get it. So listen to it. The Rowley administration is committed to campaign strategy based on lies and propaganda. After spending 5 years destroying the economy, they are now resorting to these desperate acts to attempt to fool people. Our plan for the National Infrastructure Fund will fund infrastructure projects which will generate revenue. They will target institutional investors like life insurance companies, private pension funds, private, and for others who are looking for long-term, low-risk investments with stable, predictable returns. So don't be distracted by their attempts at twisting the facts. That will not happen. I give you that assurance. I give you that assurance. They just do not understand. That's because they had no way of getting revenue, creating revenue streams. They had no way. Their only method, it's in their DNA, is tax, 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 borrow, 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 and spend, spend, spend. And then tax, 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 borrow, 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 spend, spend, spend. Have no plan. They don't understand basic economics. They just don't. And I want to make one final point here to the farmers from Moruga-Tableland. I was there in Michelle on Monday, and they spoke to me about this. So I want to give them the assurance. They have expressed concern and problems about the roads and access to water and so on, little government support. But they brought up the European Union Farmers Grant, which was a grant that we had negotiated when we were in office. And we had paid a part of it, but when this wicked government came in, they did not pay them the rest of it. In fact, we had to take them to court. General Ramdeen took the government to court on behalf of the farmers to try to get more money. But what is the government doing now? Case in court, eh? Cases in court, what do they want to do? The government is not giving them what is owed to them. The government is hell-bent on squeezing the little support all farmers are able to get. According to farmers, they were given about 11% of the amount they were owed. And now the government is offering 53% as a final payment. Why? Why? And a portion of that 53% would have to go toward legal charges. So to pay me my own money, I had to pay for a lawyer. Making sense? That is just not making any sense whatsoever. Why must farmers pay legal charges out of the grant money? Why is this government, this Rowley government, and the worst Minister of Agriculture, Vandana, will give him a licking up in Chaguanas? Worst agriculture. Why are they holding this grant money as hostage? You know what they are trying to do, and they're doing it with other things, you know. They say, come on our platform, support us, vote for us, and we'll give you X, we'll give you Y. They tried that with the cemetery, the Muslim cemetery. Mr. Arari run down Moruga to meet the community of elders. When for 5 years we had approved that land in my government before we left office. For 5 years did nothing. Mere days before election, you're running down Moruga. You know, when I was growing up, as I say, Moruga was famous for something, you know. Anybody go in Moruga, she go on Moruga, you know. The older heads will understand. She go on Moruga, there was a song, I don't remember all the words, go on Moruga. But you notice what's happening with this man? He in Moruga 3 and 4 and 5 times. I mean, what's going on down there, Mr. Rowley? What's going on? I also remember, for the local government election, and let us not forget that, the UNC did great in the local elections. Don't let them depress you that we didn't do. We did well. We won the local government elections. We won. And this friend of the Prime Minister, the former friend, or I don't really get back as friend, Hunt, Le Hunt, he had Rowley coming down Superior Corporation once, twice, 3 times. Maybe he came when I didn't know what I know about 3 times in that little short period. Lehan convinced him that he could have won at Superior. You're crazy. Kamla is Superior and Superior is Kamla. Remember that. Remember that. Anyway, so they lost. And in fact, we won more seats in Superior. So Rowley, maybe they should advise you to just stay home, you know, because when you reach there, it looked like you may not win the seat. So now he's in Moruga. Michelle, it tells me he is very worried. He's very worried. And from what I saw, Moruga gone yellow, for sure. On Saturday, I'll go up by Nabila, and I'm sure she'll tell me gone yellow too. Vandana, clear yellow. Flora will come up another day, if we can, to where you are. JJ will totally gone yellow. La HORQUETTAI TALPARO, Gone, yellow, gone. So I want to say to the farmers, we will fight for you, we will defend you, we will invest in you when we return to office. As you know, agriculture is one of the main pillars of our master plan. So we'll work with you together. We'll make agriculture more attractive and commercially viable, bringing in the policies and the institutions and the resources and land be made available. So farmers down there, we will certainly deal with this issue. Don't bother with them, just vote them out so we can get your business sorted out finally. A new UNC government is therefore committed to the following. We resolve all outstanding issues regarding former colony workers and cane farmers. I had already said we resolve issues relating to petrotrin workers. Today I'm dealing with those in the agriculture sector. Cane farmers, like those of you I met on Monday, we will pay in full the second and third tranches of the EU funds legally mandated for that purpose. We may not be able, and I wouldn't lie to you, we may not be able to pay the second and third together, but I give you the assurance we'll pay you the second, and thereafter your third tranche. We will lease 25,000 acres of county lands to create agricultural parks to kickstart agricultural activity. We will lease 25,000 acres of the same to registered farmers and private sector investors to create agricultural parks in strategic locations across the country. We will put idle lands to work. And with our initiatives, by 2025, we will create in this sector 10,000 new jobs. So in our 5-year term, I talked about the 50,000, we know how we will get there. It is by sector that we will create these jobs. And in doing that, we'll cut the import food bill. Again, foreign exchange, we'll cut that bill. I think it's about 6 million or something we import every year. Billions or billion. Buying thing we could grow. I am boasting about my tomatoes, somebody said it. I am boasting about my peppers. I am boasting about my save, okra, something we call baigan, something we call melange, something we call aubergine, all the same. We can grow on our food, we can grow it, we can grow. When I talked about agriculture, you know, Rowley say, what happened with she? We don't have no land for that. We don't have land. Where does man live in? Next thing when I put up my tomato and lettuce and thing on the Facebook, man, instant the man started to grow lettuce too. Instant, just following, you know, just following. And look at this now, he's now promising a new ministry. I thought this was a man who said too many ministries. He's saving money, cutting down ministries. He wants to create a ministry he's going to call Ministry of Technologies and Record Keeping. Wait now, where's the man shut down the laptops? You say, man, I spent quite some time on our platform talking about technology, the digital economy, the fourth industrial revolution. He now playing catch up. 5 years too late. 5 years now trying to play catch up. He wants to create a Ministry of Technologies and Record Keeping. That's good for the entertainment industry. He talks about this, shut down the program. We invested thousands of laptops for our children. They would have access to the internet. They'll have equal access to information. You know, they say information and knowledge is power, you know. Information and knowledge, they had that access. That was designed to have this child, one child will take that home, but then everybody else in the home has access. Oh God, because you could afford for your children, you don't want nobody else children to get. Why did you shut down that program? And then they said it failed. The only failure with the laptop program is you, Dr. Rory, for shutting it down. For shutting it down. That's the only failure. And he talks about technology and innovation. I wonder, this is a man who came to the parliament, pieces of paper and saying they were emails. He doesn't even know the difference between somebody type up a page and a real email. Did not even know that. Now wants to tell us about technology. And Mr. Rowley, you forgot we had a Ministry of Science and Technology under my watch. What did you do? You shut it down. Now you want to bring it back by a different name. What is it? Technology and recordings. Recordings, yeah. Well, we hear more of them recordings in a short while. So, I spoke about that digital economy at length. Again, if you want to hear more or see more of it, uncplan2020.com. It's there in detail. So, look, finally, they are hell-bent on sowing seeds of division. I want to call on all citizens. Do not let the PNM divide us. As I say, if you do not support us, do not be divided against each other, because we are one nation, one people in Trinidad and Tobago. In the past weeks, Rowley and his team have been trying to sow seeds of division to hide their failed, incompetent track record. This is their playbook. When they're backed in a corner, yeah, they come to try to divide us. The old colonial rule, divide and rule. The old colonial philosophy of divide and rule. They have no achievement to campaign on. Can you imagine? After 5 years? And things so bad, they're putting some of our achievements on their achievement list. Things will be really bad, really bad. They know they have burdened the population. They know the only way they can hope to get a second term. Oh God, can you imagine? Can you imagine a second term of Rowley? No way, no way, no way. That is the worst nightmare you could even think about. So don't let them manipulate us and our words to create that division. I've always told you, we have come from different lands on different boats, but today we are in all the same place, one land. We have come from different lands. We have come by different boats, but today we are all in the same boat, Trinidad and Tobago. That's where we are. And we are all fighting to survive in a dying economy, fighting to survive with rampant crime. You notice something, how crime going off the burner? Murder is happening, you know, but going off the front burner. Because these people want us only to think about COVID. Crime is still rampant. The commissioner is doing his best. I agree, but the government must bring policies in order to ensure that the TTPS is well resourced and have the policies to fight the crime. So that's gone off the radar as well. So we must all fight together. Just checking time check. We must fight together, as we are stronger when we are all together. Every man, every woman, every young adult, you have a duty to go out on August 10th and vote them out. As a leader of this party, I can tell you we have led a diverse government. We have had a diverse parliamentary team. We have had a diverse party. And you can see in the slate of candidates, we are the Rainbow Party of Trinidad and Tobago. So Rowley, end the lies and the games. We in the UNC have a vision and a plan for all our citizens. As a matter of fact, when I was Prime Minister, I created a ministry, and that former minister is with us here today, Roger Samuel. I created a ministry of diversity and social integration, because that's how we must live as one. One nation, one people. Going forward, as we prepare to return good governance to our beloved TNT, I ask you again to join me, join our team, to work towards a brighter, more prosperous future for all in our land. We celebrate, as I say, 58 years after elections this year in August. And so let us vote on the 10th to ensure that we can go forward joyously to celebrate our independence anniversary. I can see, and I'm not a seer lady, but I can see, I can feel, I can hear, I can taste, that on August 10th, on the night of August 10th, there'll be weeping and wailing of gnashing of teeth in the Rowley camp on the night of August 10th. And so we will go forward victorious. Let us come together as one. Let us make it happen. August 10th, what we doing? Vote them out. Vote them out. Vote them out. And let us get TNT working again. God bless. Thank you.
Now is the time! No, no, no. The time is no, no, no. The time is no. Now is the time to vote them out. The time is no. the plan. Put up your hand if you understand. Hey.
So let's all join together as one. If you believe that the time has come, election day when you stay in your hand, it's for the UNC and the rising sun, 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 sun.
Hey. What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. Now is the time to build the nation, to seek for the children education. It's time for a leader who have a plan. Now is the time for action. Now is the time to reduce the tax. Now is the time for all crime to stop. This is the time we're not giving up.
So let's all join together as one. If you believe that the time has come, election day when you stay in your hand, it's for the UNC and the rising sun, 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 sun.
What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. Now is the time to vote them out. 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 Now is the time.
So let's all join together as one. If you believe that the time has come, election day when you stay in your hand, it's for the UNC and the rising sun, 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 sun.
Hey, what time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. What time it is? What time it is? What time it is? Now is the time for action. Now is the time to cast your vote. Now is the time to start to work. Now is the time we bring your hope. Now is the time for action. Now is the time to take a stand. Cause the UNC have the plan. Put up your hand if you understand.
Now is the time to vote them out. 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 Now is the time. Yeah, yeah.
Vote them out. August 10th. Vote.